Hey everybody, and welcome to New Brunswick, New Jersey, home of Rutgers University and the Scarlet Knights. We're actually getting ready to go have a few words with Governor Corzine, and we're not going to have as much time with him as I thought, but that's okay because afterwards we've got a really groundbreaking and exciting announcement to make, and I'm sure we'll cover it while we're up there. I'm just going to start by asking you, Governor, what exactly brings you to New Brunswick today?
Well, a very exciting reason to be in New Brunswick is that we're putting a shovel in the ground on the Institute for Stem Cell Research, which I think is one of the great investments that the state of New Jersey has made in decades or maybe in history. If in the fullness of time we attract great research scientists who come up with breakthrough efforts that allow us to attack juvenile diabetes and spinal cord injuries, we will have changed the world. And I think today we get out of the blocks and get started on that process. And I'm truly excited about it.
A lot of our legacy and our heritage here in New Jersey has involved all kinds of contributions to medicine and to science.
Absolutely.
And this is a big investment, but if we pull it off, then gosh, doesn't that put us in great stead?
Well, New Jersey historically has been the medicine chest of the world. There have been great scientific breakthroughs, as you suggest, here, but it is our future that we need to capture and sustain. And if we don't make those investments, both in the laboratories, the computer technology that allows us to do the computational work, and if we don't have the new ideas from the doctors and the scientists, we won't be at that cutting edge going forward. And there's a lot of competition, not only in the United States, in California and Massachusetts, to advances in stem cell research, but there are also competition around the globe. And New Jersey really needs to fight to make its historic competitive advantage one that sustains itself.
So groundbreaking indeed. Switching gears a little bit, New Jersey's National Guard is being called upon for another lengthy deployment.
As you know, I'm not too happy about that, Mark.
Well, I mean, with these wildfires going on in California, it kind of makes you wonder, well, if God forbid something happens while they're gone, I mean, as Commander-in-Chief of the New Jersey National Guard, I mean, are you able to bring them back home if a disaster strikes?
In short, the answer is no with regard to bringing them back home, and there is no legal authority to keep them from going. The president has the authority to be able to call up for international activities or national security reasons the National Guard in any state. What we will see is a diminution of our ability to respond as fully and as effectively as we would otherwise be able to. Fact is, we're losing about half of our troops for a year.
Well,
now, the thing that we will be able to do, if there were a problem, is to call on Pennsylvania and other places to back us up, but it would not be the same commitment, in my view, that it would be if you had your own men and women from New Jersey doing that.
The whole thing about this toll road plan, I got to admit, I would usually defer to somebody who knows a lot more about money and finances than me, but I think my curiosity was just piqued because you've played your hand so close to your chest, and I'm just wondering, why the mystery?
Well, we're not trying to be mysterious about any kind of toll road plan or any other financing plan. What we have been doing in good faith, contrary to how some people have categorized it, is to try to put together alternative financial restructurings that will allow the state of New Jersey to deal with critical problems that have to be resolved. We have a huge deficit in investment in roads, bridges, schools, dams, open space, things that people want to see done. but because of previous decisions that have been taken over 20 years, 25 years, we don't have the financial capacity to do that. And it's my responsibility within fiscal sanity to come up with the ability for us to invest in our future. We're sitting here at Rutgers. They have a huge capital investment program. They're needing of a supercomputer to be able to do some of the research that we would like to see on stem cell research. But we don't have the resources to be able to make those investments. And so I think I have a moral obligation to try to come up with the best ideas that would allow us to both financially invest in our future, but also reflect an already heavily burdened taxpayer in the state of New Jersey. And that's what we're trying to do. And we've been thinking about this problem for a long time. We're very close to answers. We intend to have a full discussion with the people of the state of New Jersey. But if I could have announced this 6 months ago with the details in hand, I would have done it. But I didn't have those details. And we still are missing a few I's to be dotted and T's to be crossed, but we intend to do that and fully discuss it with the legislature and ultimately with the public.
Well, it wasn't that many months ago that you were actually recovering, so I'm wondering if maybe your accident threw off any of your policy goals by a quarter or maybe a few months.
Well, maybe it has some impact on 3 or 4 months, but not in any general sense. We were continuing to pursue all the questions that we had on our to-do list while I was in recovery. And in all frankness, I've been able to actually spend more intense time on policy while I'm recovering than I might have otherwise been able to do if I were continuing an aggressive schedule of outreach to the state, which governors have a tendency to do.
So the leg's doing good then?
The leg's doing great, and I certainly want to say to all of those that see your blog and will hear this that I am extraordinarily grateful for the prayers and the moral support. It has been overwhelming, and I see the sense of humanity in this state that has come out of this, at least in my own life, and so I'm very, very grateful and a lot more optimistic about the future because I see goodness.
Interesting segue. We hear stories all the time about people having a brush with their mortality, and then they kind of come back and recover, and they see things differently, and they don't feel sort of inhibited, maybe like they used to. And I'm wondering if maybe after the accident and the recovery, you're better suited to confront some of these big problems.
We'll see whether people think the solutions match the needs, but I think the sense of vulnerability that is a natural part of brushing up against the hereafter has to make one step back and realize that as an individual, a lot less certain, a lot less omniscient about things than you might have believed before. I don't believe I carried myself with self-certainty on a lot of issues prior to the accident, but the difference between being alive or not being able to have this conversation now is a very small metric, and I don't think that you can help but be impacted by understanding that your mortality and eternity are very close to all of us, and the world's going to go on whether John Corzine's here or it's not. He isn't here. My life, I hope I use for very good purposes, but it's all of us together in humanity that I think I'm a little more focused on.